Hey guys, it's been a while. I've been very busy with work, but I thought I could touch a little bit upon the Wagner situation that proceeded in Russia. Uh, Better late than never, I guess. The Wagner Group leader, Evgeny Prigozhin, has claimed that the Russian MOD or the Russian military had launched some sort of military attack on Wagner positions. Judging from the video, the little bits that I have seen and many others have seen, that doesn't appear to be the case. The Ministry of Defense of Russia has denied this, said this is complete nonsense. And I tend to believe them. I can't really see no reason why they would want to do this. Listen, at the end of the day, Prigozhin is a businessman, right? And why is he complaining so much? Well, what you see here is similar to the situation in Sudan between General Burhan and uh, General President Burhan or General Burhan versus Dagalo, right? Dagalo, who uh, decides or has sway over his rapid defense forces, whom were part of the Janjaweed, or were the Janjaweed basically back in the day, right? So the deal here is that the Russian government wants to fully incorporate the Wagner Group into the Russian military because private military companies are actually not allowed according to the Russian law. And obviously, Prigozhin would lose the money that he was given or granted by the Russian state because he was the owner of the Wagner Group. And that's why he got pissed off. Many speculate that he was collaborating with Ukrainian and Western intelligence. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I personally haven't seen any evidence of that, but it's worth diving into. Scott Ritter has talked extensively about this matter, and maybe he's right. It wouldn't surprise me. A businessman, a lot of them, well, most of them are very, well, they think about the money to begin with, not so much about patriotism or maybe the national cause of their country. So Putin, in his tactics to avoid bloodshed, decided to put these Wagner fighters along with Prigozhin in Belarus. And this was with the help of the Belarusian president Lukashenko, who stepped in to negotiate a some sort of deal. I don't know. Nobody really knows the whole details of the deal, but these Wagner fighters will from now on operate in Belarus. I have speculated that Lukashenko want them there because of Polish hostile activity against Belarus. There have been numerous articles about, or a few articles about, exiled Belarusians who are opponents of Lukashenko, that they have been trained in military camps to conduct some sort of insurgency against the Belarusian state. Maybe that's why the Wagner Group was put there as some sort of counterinsurgency against a Polish-backed coup d'état in Belarus. Maybe they were sent there to launch some future attack against Kiev. Who knows, right? We don't really know yet. But that's pretty much the makeup of the story of what happened between the Wagner Group and the Russian military. The Wagner Group is going to be incorporated in officially into the Russian military, and that's about it. And yes, then you have the chicken coming home to roost because a lot of Western politicians and media outlets were extremely excited about this situation. I find that kind of ironic since we have huge riots and demonstrations going on in France right now. And what really broke the camel's back was the shooting of a 17-year-old Algerian boy in Paris. I believe it was Paris. I could be wrong about the city, but that's the main takeaway as far as I know. But obviously, there has been a lot of demonstrations in France before, and France has a long tradition of people coming out and protesting against austerity measures, against politicians, you know, uh, trying to implement a lot of these neoliberal reforms and so on. And they have come from different segments of French society. The more white, ethnic French Catholic conservative society, as well as the immigrant communities during different periods of times. Uh, but what we see now in France is, I would say, is kind of like, I wouldn't say maybe necessarily 100% unified front against Macron, but there's anger simmering and boiling up from all sectors of French society. And what I'm saying is, why I am saying that the chickens have come home to roost is because European and Western analysts have been cheering on demonstrations in Russia. Well, not just Russia, but Iran and other places in China and so forth, Taiwan, Hong Kong and whatever. And now it's coming home to them. And it's going to get worse. There's been demonstrations in Italy, in Berlin, and Czechoslovakia back in not too long ago. And, like, it's going to get worse because the European Union is going to become more and more impoverished. The sanctions that the EU put on Russia actually hurt the European Union even more. Russia is now considered one of the top 10 economies in the world right now. And this is not Russian propaganda. Let's see. Here we go. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about here. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. And there you go. Right. And it says here, Russia returns to top 10 world of world economies. So if this will continue, right? I mean, if the economic situation in the Eurozone will continue to get worse, I think we will see a hell of a lot more instability in the European Union. We will see a lot more street violence. We will see a lot more demonstrations. I think we will have a more gradual shift to a more right wing leaning parties and governments, more conservative ones at least, that have opted for perhaps peace with Russia, because the European left has basically turned liberal, and they are actually very pro-war in this sense. But the problem with a lot of these right-wing parties is that they are also very influenced by many deep state actors, right? I mean, look at Meloni. A lot of people were cheering on Meloni, and now she is a pro-Ukrainian NATO hawk. And we just have to see what's going to happen, I guess. But yeah, that's the chickens coming home to roost. And one more thing about the Wagner situation. I really don't know how these analysts were thinking. Wagner, or even Prigozhin for that matter, because Prigozhin said he was not out to overthrow Putin, right? He called it the March of Justice. He wanted Shoigu because he had a long-standing conflict with Shoigu, right? He claimed he didn't get enough ammunition and equipment, etc., which is bullshit. I mean, how the hell do you take Bakhmut with no equipment? This is nonsense. But anyway, he wanted to overthrow or get rid of Shoigu, basically, and well, that's not going to happen. I mean, he is not the president of Russia. He does not decide that. So, and the thing is, like, if we look at this article here from TASS, right? Um, let's see here. Putin says Wagner Group fully financed by the Russian government. Well, of course. So, if they would have gone into a long battle with Russian government forces and the Akhmat Sila forces, right? The Chechen special forces, which were surrounding them as well, uh, they would have lost inevitably, because where else are they going to get their ammunition from? So this is a it's a ridiculous notion to believe that the Wagner Group is going to somehow defeat Russian government forces and grab power and this is dumb, bro. And a lot of these people, they don't realize that if Putin were to be overthrown, he would be replaced by way more hawkish people than him. He's not even considered a rabid radical or some sort of uh, you know Russian nationalist extremist. He is a Russian nationalist, obviously, but people like Medvedev and you know and other more on the right wing are way more. They call for way more extreme measures against the West as well as against the Ukrainian government. So he will be replaced by much more extremist types, basically. Yes, thank you, people, for listening and tuning in. Like I said, I have a lot on my plate. That's why I don't regularly post. But I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back.